Welcome to The Explainer. Listen up, because today we're breaking down a critical, newly expanded public health alert that you absolutely need to know about. We are looking at a massive, multi-state jalapeno recall, and it is currently rippling through the entire food supply chain. Seriously, if you've been grocery shopping recently, you need to pay close attention to what we're going to cover. The details here are shifting rapidly, and the footprint of this contamination is growing fast. So let's get right into the facts.
Okay, let's dive into this, because you might literally have dangerous, contaminated food sitting right there in your fridge, completely hidden in plain sight. You know, it's one thing to hear about a recall on a whole vegetable, right? But it's an entirely different ballgame when that vegetable is a hidden ingredient in some of your favorite ready-to-eat foods. Are you absolutely sure that store-bought pico de gallo waiting for taco night is safe to eat? Let's find out.
So, let's talk about the jalapeno recall specifically, and exactly what you need to be looking for.
The FDA recently expanded their initial recall due to potential Salmonella contamination. And here's where it gets super tricky. We aren't just looking for whole, loose peppers sitting in the produce aisle. The real sneaky danger here lies in prepared grocery items. We're talking pre-cut produce, freshly made pico de gallo, stuffed mushrooms, soup mixes, all those convenient, ready-to-cook items we all buy. And the convenience of these foods is exactly what makes this recall so deceptive. You might not even realize jalapeños are in the mix. You grab a quick soup mix for a fast weeknight dinner, totally unaware that one single diced ingredient inside that container could harbor a serious bacterial threat.
The absolute most crucial thing to do is check your fridge for a few specific labels. The recall targets products sold under the NatureBest and H-E-B labels, which were distributed mostly in Texas and Louisiana between July 3rd and August 5th. But the web is way wider than that. Taylor Farms is actually recalling products containing these jalapenos sold at major national retailers like Kroger and Trader Joe's. And it even extends to restaurants and food service companies, including massive chains like Chipotle and Qdoba. I mean, think about how often we rely on these places for a quick lunch or an easy dinner on the way home. The sheer variety of these brands shows just how deeply integrated this one single ingredient is into our daily diets, and how easily a localized issue can silently infiltrate the kitchens of millions of us. Let's move on and look at the sheer scale of this outbreak and the confirmed illnesses so far.
Health officials are reporting that there are at least 345 confirmed illnesses linked directly to these contaminated jalapenos. Out of those people, dozens have actually been hospitalized because their symptoms were so severe. Thankfully, as of right now, 0 deaths have been reported. But still, 345 illnesses, that is a huge number for a foodborne outbreak. It really underscores the incredible urgency of clearing these products off our shelves and out of our homes. What starts as an isolated incident quickly balloons into a widespread health event when the contaminated ingredient is distributed this aggressively. And this really illustrates the wide reach of the issue. The CDC has confirmed cases across a staggering 27 different states. From California to New York, from Texas up to North Dakota, we are looking at a nearly nationwide footprint. It's a pretty powerful reminder that your local grocery store is intimately connected to a massive continental network. An issue that begins thousands of miles away can easily end up on a dinner plate in the Midwest just days later. Now, you might be wondering how this all happened. Let's trace the source and look at the FDI's investigation. How are so many different grocery stores, independent labels, and massive restaurant chains all involved in the exact same outbreak? Well, the FDA's traceback investigation is essentially high-stakes detective work. They started at the retail level, the Krogers, the Trader Joe's, the Chipotles. From there, they traced the supply chain back to the importer, a company known as Coast Citrus Distributors. But they didn't stop there. They kept working backward until they ultimately pinpointed a single common grower down in Sinaloa, Mexico as the likely source. Just think about that for a second. One common grower in Sinaloa, Mexico inadvertently sparked an outbreak that reached 27 states and hundreds of people through dozens of different brand names. It's kind of wild, but it's a fascinating look at the intricacies of modern food distribution.
With the source identified, let's talk about what consumers should do to protect themselves.
If you have eaten jalapenos recently, especially in those prepackaged formats we just talked about, you need to be actively on the lookout for the classic symptoms of a salmonella infection. We're talking diarrhea, fever, and severe stomach cramps. And let me be clear, these aren't just minor stomach aches. They are highly disruptive, painful symptoms that signal a serious bacterial infection. It is absolutely crucial to monitor how you feel, especially if you regularly eat pre-cut produce.
The timeline here is incredibly important to understand. Say you eat contaminated food on day 0. You might not get sick right away. Symptoms can appear anywhere from a mere 6 hours to a full 6 days later. That 6-day window is huge, and it's exactly why people often struggle to connect their illness to a specific meal they ate nearly a week ago. I mean, by the time you actually feel sick, that container of pico de gallo might already be long gone in the trash. And once the symptoms do hit, the illness typically lasts between 4 and 7 agonizing days. The CDC notes that Salmonella is actually a leading cause of foodborne illness in the United States. Public health authorities take this incredibly seriously precisely because of the widespread distribution we just looked at and the severe risk it poses to vulnerable populations like kids, the elderly, and anyone with a weakened immune system. Because it can cause serious and, in some rare cases, fatal infections, you must not ignore it. If you feel sick and have the symptoms we just covered, contact your doctor right away. Seriously, do not try to just tough it out.
I'm going to leave you with this final, urgent thought to wrap up our explainer. Have you checked your crisper drawer today? Please, go to your kitchen right now, dig around, look at the labels on your pico de gallo, your stuffed mushrooms, your pre-cut veggies. Throw out any of the implicated items to keep yourself and your family safe. And you know, as you toss that plastic container into the trash, it really makes you ask yourself, are we truly aware of how interconnected and fragile our modern food supply chain really is? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep checking those labels, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.